Ever find yourself wishing you could win every argument, even when you're maybe, possibly, a little bit unsure if you're actually right?
I think we've all been there.
Well, today we're diving into a book that's basically the ultimate guide to exactly that.
Oh, this is going to be good. Lay it on me.
We're cracking open 38 strategies for winning any debate by the one and only Arthur Schopenhauer.
Schopenhauer. Now, there was a thinker who really knew how to get under people's skin.
He really did, and this book, let me tell you, it's a wild ride through what he calls heuristic dialectics. Basically, the art of winning arguments, even if you got to bend the rules a little or a lot. It's based on excerpts from a Portuguese translation, by the way.
No, that's what I call thinking outside the box. But honestly, who hasn't been in a debate and wished they had a few, let's say, unconventional tactics up their sleeve?
Right. So buckle up because Schopenhauer is about to drop some serious knowledge bombs on how to come out on top in any debate.
I am so ready for this.
Yeah.
Let's talk Schopenhauer.
Okay, so first things first. We got to understand what Schopenhauer was even getting at with this whole heuristic dialectics thing. What's the deal with that?
Well, he was really fascinated by this idea that there's a difference between being right and winning an argument.
Yeah.
And he wasn't afraid to explore the, shall we say, less than noble ways people try to win, even when they probably know they're on shaky ground.
It's like that friend who always seems to dominate conversations, even when their logic is a little creative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where heuristic dialectics comes in. It's not about truth-seeking, necessarily. It's about using any means necessary to get your opponent to tap out.
Okay, see, now this is why I love diving into this stuff with you. It's like we're about to expose all the sneaky moves people use in arguments.
Oh, absolutely. Schopenhauer breaks down 38 very specific strategies. He even uses the phrase perfas et nefas, meaning by right or wrong, for coming out ahead in any debate.
Okay, give me an example. What's one of these power moves?
All right, so one he calls generalize your opponent's statements. The idea is to take something they're saying and subtly broaden it, make it more extreme so it's easier to poke holes in.
Ooh, it's like you're setting a trap, leading them right into a generalization, and then bam, you hit them with the exception. I like it.
Exactly. He gives this great example about how if someone's going on about all pantheistic states and you hit them with a counterexample, they might try to backpedal and say, oh, well, I didn't mean Danzig.
So sneaky. It's like they're changing the rules of the game as they go.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. He's got another one called use the premises of your opponent against him.
Okay, that sounds kind of like intellectual judo. How does that work?
Basically, you're taking their own arguments, their own beliefs even, and using those to dismantle their position.
Yeah.
It's especially effective if their logic is already a little iffy.
Oh, that's cool. I love it. Okay, what else you got? I need more Schopenhauer in my life.
Well, how about this one? Arouse your opponent's anger. Schopenhauer was really onto something with that one. He knew that an angry mind doesn't think clearly.
Oh, I've seen this in action. Someone gets riled up in a debate, and suddenly all logic goes out the window. They're just reacting emotionally.
Exactly. And that's when you strike.
Okay, that one might be a little ruthless, even for me, but it's brilliant.
He's got another one that's a bit more, let's say, subtle. Complicate your opponent's argument. The gist is, if you act baffled by their fancy language, you can make it seem like they're just trying to confuse people instead of actually making a point.
It's like that saying, if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with...
Exactly.
Oh, this is gold. I'm starting to think Schopenhauer was a bit of a, well, maybe not evil genius, but definitely a genius.
Well, he definitely understood how to play the game, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But what makes these strategies so effective and kind of unsettling is that they're rooted in Schopenhauer's view of human nature. He believed that most people would rather be right, or at least appear right, than actually discover the truth.
Okay, so we're getting into some deep philosophical waters here. But I have to ask, are we all just hardwired to be a little bit intellectually dishonest? Is that what he's saying?
Well, he does seem to suggest that humans have a natural tendency to cling to our opinions, even when they might be, well, wrong.
Oh, tell me about it. I know I've been guilty of that myself a time or two, or maybe a little more often than that.
We've all been there. Think about how hard it is to truly admit you're wrong about something, especially if you've already argued your point passionately.
It can feel like a personal attack. It's like you're not just questioning my opinion, you're questioning my whole identity.
Exactly. And that's where things get really interesting. Because if we're all so quick to defend our own positions, how can we ever have a truly objective debate? How can we ever really get to the truth of anything?
That's a question for the ages, but before we spiral down that rabbit hole, I think we need to bring another voice into this conversation.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where Carl Otto Erdmann comes in.
Right. Erdmann wrote the introduction to Schopenhauer's work, and he adds this whole other layer to the discussion, especially when it comes to the role of authority in arguments.
He really does. He goes deep on the whole argumentum ad verecundium thing.
And for those of us who don't speak Latin fluently,
It basically means appealing to authority instead of actual reason. Like, oh, well, this famous person said it, so it must be true.
which, let's be honest, we've all fallen for that one at some point.
Absolutely. Both Erdmann and Schopenhauer understood that we, as humans, are naturally inclined to believe rather than always think critically for ourselves, especially when it comes to people we see as experts or authority figures.
Right. It's so much easier to just accept what someone in the know tells us.
Exactly. And as Erdmann points out, we often overestimate the expertise of those authority figures. I mean, think about it. Teachers, doctors, even.
Podcast hosts.
Precisely. We tend to give them more credit than we should sometimes. The point is, appealing to authority can be a very persuasive tactic, even if the logic behind it is shaky.
Which is why it's so important to be aware of it, right? Both in how it's used against us and, let's be honest, how we might even use it ourselves without realizing it.
Absolutely. It's about understanding the subtle ways that authority can influence our thinking, even in seemingly harmless ways. Like, how often do you find yourself throwing in a fancy quote or statistic to sound more convincing?
Oh, all the time. It's like, oh, did you know that 9 out of 10 philosophers agree with me? But seriously, you've got me thinking now.
Good, because that's the first step to becoming a more discerning thinker.
I like the sound of that. But where do we go from here? We've talked about all these strategies, both the sneaky ones and the ones that are just part of human nature. What are we supposed to do with this information?
That's a great question. And it's something we're going to dig into as we continue our deep dive into Schopenhauer's 38 strategies for winning any debate. So we've been talking about all these strategies Schopenhauer lays out, and you might be thinking, okay, but what happens when I'm in the heat of the moment, when things are getting heated, and I need a lifeline?
Oh, 100%. Like, what happens when you're backed into a corner and your mind goes blank? You can't think of a good comeback to save your life.
Well, Schopenhauer to the rescue. He's got a few, let's call them emergency tactics, up his sleeve for those moments when you need to turn the tables.
Okay, I'm listening. Hit me with the good stuff.
All right, so what he talks about is interrupting your opponent. Basically, if you sense they're building towards a conclusion you don't like, you find a way to derail the conversation before they get there.
It's like the argument equivalent of pulling the fire alarm. Not exactly playing fair, but hey, desperate times.
Right. And Schopenhauer knew that sometimes a well-timed interruption can throw your opponent off their game just enough to give you the upper hand.
Okay, that's kind of devious. I like it. But what if you want to go even bigger? What's the nuclear option in Schopenhauer's playbook?
Well, he's got one called shifting the ground, and it's every bit as dramatic as it sounds. Basically, you just change the subject entirely, especially if you realize you're on shaky ground.
Oh, I've been on the receiving end of that one. It's so frustrating. You're having a perfectly good argument, and suddenly it's like, squirrel.
Exactly. It's a classic diversion tactic.
Why?
And it can be surprisingly effective, because even if your opponent sees what you're doing, they still have to switch gears mentally. It's jarring.
It's like that moment when you realize the person you're arguing with is just not interested in actually engaging with your points. They're just looking for a way to win, even if it means throwing the entire conversation off a cliff.
Which, if we're being honest, can be pretty tempting sometimes. But that's the thing about Schopenhauer. He presents all these strategies, but he's not necessarily saying you should use them all the time, or even that he approves of them.
So he's not advocating for everyone to become these Machiavellian masterminds of manipulation.
Not at all. In fact, he's pretty critical of people who are so focused on winning that they lose sight of what's actually true.
Okay, that's good to hear. I'm not saying I want to become some kind of argument-winning robot. I'm still interested in, actually finding the truth.
As you should be. And that's what makes these discussions so interesting, because they force us to confront those uncomfortable questions about our own motives. Why do we argue? Is it to win? Or is it something more?
Right. Like, are we really open to changing our minds? Or are we just looking for validation? I mean, I think that's a question we all have to ask ourselves.
Absolutely. And I think Schopenhauer would agree. He understood that humans are complex creatures, driven by a mix of ego and logic, and this deep-seated desire to be right.
So he's not giving us easy answers. He's just giving us the tools to understand the game a little better.
Exactly. He's giving us a backstage pass to the world of argumentation, showing us all the tricks of the trade. But he leaves it up to us to decide how we want to use that knowledge.
I like that. It's like he's saying, here's how to argue like a pro, but don't come crying to me if you end up alienating everyone you know.
Exactly. It's a powerful toolkit. But like any tool, it can be used for good or evil.
So the big question is, how do we use this knowledge, this understanding of heuristic dialectics, to have more honest and productive conversations?
Now that is the million-dollar question. And it's something we're going to explore as we move into the final part of our deep dive.
So we spent all this time talking about winning arguments, but it kind of makes you wonder, what's the point of winning if you lose sight of, actual truth along the way?
That's the heart of it, isn't it? It's like Schopenhauer is handing us this map for navigating arguments, but he's not telling us where to go.
It's like he's saying, here are the tools, have fun, but don't blame me if you end up ethically lost.
Exactly. He's giving us this incredible insight into how arguments work, how people try to win them, but he's leaving it up to us to decide what we're really aiming for. Is it victory, or is it something more?
Right. Like, do we just want to prove we're right, or are we actually interested in getting closer to the truth of the matter, even if it means changing our minds?
And that's where things get really interesting, because it forces us to confront our own motives for engaging in these debates in the first place.
It's like, are we willing to listen, to truly consider other perspectives, even if they challenge our own? Or are we just looking for an echo chamber?
I think Schopenhauer would say that a true philosopher, a true seeker of knowledge, is always open to having their mind changed.
Which is easier said than done, right? I mean, we talked
Yeah,
about how deeply ingrained it is in us to want to be right. Letting go of that, even a little bit, can be tough.
absolutely. But I think that's where the real growth happens, when we can step outside of our own egos, our own need to be right, and genuinely engage with different perspectives.
You like that saying, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Exactly. Every conversation, even a heated debate, is an opportunity to learn something new, to expand our understanding of the world and ourselves.
So maybe it's less about winning arguments and more about using them as a tool for growth, for getting closer to, some kind of shared understanding.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that we all have something to learn from each other, that even in disagreement, there can be this incredible potential for connection and discovery.
It's like we're all puzzle pieces, and it's through these conversations, these debates, that we start to see how we fit together.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
And it's in those moments, those aha moments where we suddenly see things from a new perspective, that the real magic happens.
And maybe that's the ultimate lesson Schopenhauer is trying to teach us. It's not about mastering manipulation, but about using our understanding of it to have more honest, more productive conversations.
It's about recognizing the power of rhetoric, not just to persuade, but to illuminate, to reveal those hidden truths that might otherwise remain hidden.
It's about using our words not as weapons, but as bridges. Bridges that connect us to each other and to a deeper understanding of the world around us.
Beautifully said. I couldn't agree more.
Well, I have to say, this has been quite the deep dive.
I've really enjoyed exploring this with you.
Likewise. And to everyone listening, we hope this has given you a new perspective on the art of argumentation. It's not just about winning, it's about growth, connection, and the never-ending pursuit of truth. Keep those conversations lively, keep those minds sharp, and most importantly, keep searching for those aha moments that lead to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.